Hello everyone and welcome to today's healing subscription. So I hope you've had a beautiful weekend, and let's dive in and do today's work. So what I've done is I have received the intel today that we're working mainly with limiting beliefs and things that are holding you back. So what I've done is I drew some cards, and that is to give us some insight, and then I drew another card to see if I can get limiting beliefs, to see what it is, in what respect it is, and then we're doing some kinesiology on all of that. So I think without getting any further, let's dive into our tune in and let's get yourselves organized, and then once we've got your goal and all of that in relation to each other, I'm going to check with you again to see how it ties in with the information that I've got. Okay, so let's go. So just find a moment to get into your center, drop into your heart space, and think about what it is that you would like to bring into your life. What would you like to release? What would you like to let go of? What would you like to manifest? Where do you want to heal? As always, spend as much time here as you need, and feel free to pause the video. When you're ready, open your eyes and allow your eyes to trace this light code. Today's light code is Lightbody Activation. So this is to activate the energies above and beyond your usual energy bodies, so beyond the auric field, beyond the chakra system. This is to activate another layer, another energy to work with. Allow your eyes to just land where they land, or perhaps you want them to trace the lines like a labyrinth, and focus on what your intention is and what your goal is for today's session. Nice slow deep breathing. Okay, let's have a look at what came up in today's session. So I drew two cards. I'm using the Elemental Tarot, and the first card that came up is the Star. Now the Star is usually very positive energy. It's this card of blessings, this blessings that are pouring down from above. And the next card that came up is Strength, which is also a really positive card. This is about us feeding or using our own inner strength to get what it is that we need to get. So I thought, wow, this is like such a positive one, but what could this be about? I've got the cards, yeah. And what was interesting is on the side there's an affirmation. It says, I am substance and one who has no substance. Do not be ignorant of me. That's with the Star. With Strength, what you see outside you, you see inside you. It is the visible, and it is your garment. And in a way, it is a similar message. So the Strength is talking about what is inside and outside of you. And then the Star is talking about the substance and the no substance, and that being everywhere. So I just felt that these two cards really have a very similar message. So then I used the soul plan cards to find out what is the limiting beliefs that we're working with, and we got the 12-3. So the 12-3 is all about success, and also about sharing of ourselves. So what I'll do is I'll put up the limiting beliefs associated with the 12-3. There is not enough time. I fear my own success. I need your love. I need your approval. I am judged. I am a failure, and I must complete. Now what you can do is just read through this list for yourself and see, is there a specific one of these that stand out for you? Is there one that you are currently struggling with? And is there one that probably relates very strongly with your goal and intention that you set for today's session? I dowsed to see which one would be the appropriate one to work with for the group, and I fear my own success is what came up. So I'm going to be using I fear my own success as our example, but if there's a different one for you, let's say it is I need your approval, write that one down and just keep it to the side, because what we'll do is whenever we use I fear my own success, you will just replace that with I need your approval. Okay, if you feel that I fear my success ties in with what your focus and your goal is, then by all means work with that one. Okay, so as I looked at this I fear my own success, I then created a like a goal that we could all use together, because we will use this one a little bit later, and that is I am comfortable with my success. I am comfortable with my success. I am comfortable with my success. What came up then as an emotional overlay on top of that one was distrust, and it's in relation to violation. Distrust in relation to violation. So when we think success, when we think or whatever your goal is, just make that connection for yourself. Whatever your goal is, where in the past have you felt violated? This is now whether it's physical violation, mental, emotional, anything like that. Maybe your time was abused. Maybe you were underpaid for work that you've done. Maybe it's something else. Maybe there was an actual physical violation. It could even be a combination of these. Perhaps you've had a physical violation, there was mental and emotional and financial on all levels. Just think about all of those things in the past, and they may not all have happened in the same time. You could have little pieces of it in different timelines. Just bring all of those things into your awareness and just sit with it just for a little while. We don't have to go too deep in it, but just get a sense, just feel, remember, and just see how all of those things tie together for yourself. Then we looked at the sabotage that comes up in relation to this. And the sabotage is I am supported, I am not supported, I can be supported, I can't be supported. So this is either about not feeling supported or feeling overly supported maybe, or it could be about not feeling like you can allow for support to come your way, or not wanting it. So this is going to be our shadow belief that we have sitting in the background. Just see how that ties in with your specific goal. The emotion on top of that is fear of loneliness, and it's in relation to productivity. So the image that would come to mind here is that in order to not be lonely, you become more productive. So then you feed into the system where you're probably trying to get out of because you don't feel supported by it, or you're not allowing yourself to be open to support that comes from outside. So there's many layers over here. Find what works for you. You may need to pause this recording and just listen to these things again. I'm not supported. I am supported. I can be supported. I cannot be supported. Fear of loneliness, and it's in relation to productivity. Just see what that means for you. I then checked to see if we need an Aura Soma bottle, and the bottle that came up is blue over violet, and this is Archangel Gabriel. This is about peace and spirituality and understanding. So again, see how this ties in with your work and how it fits in. Usually with Gabriel, it's to do with communication. So it could be about speaking without thinking, or having difficulties with authority, or not being clear about what your ideals are, what it is that what direction to go. But it's really about either not being able to speak your truth, or perhaps speaking without thinking. So you blurb things out and then it gets bad for you. So this is going to be another level and layer over and above that. I then went and I checked a little bit further to see what are where is this now? Where is our archetypes? And our negative archetype that came up is the hero or the heroine. So in the negative, this is about escapism or a false sense of being a hero. When it comes to, let's say, your work time and you're being abused because you're not getting paid enough for the time that you put in, you almost like go to work extra early, 2 or 3 hours before everybody else, so that you can be the hero to save the day and probably stay another extra 2 or 3 hours after work when everybody else is leaving. So you feel like you're a hero, but at the end of the day, you shoot yourself in the foot and you're not actually helping anyone, except for everybody else who's violating and abusing you. Okay, so perhaps I'm just focusing on the work situation because of the success and all of those things that came up, but see how it will tie in with your specific goals. So you may need to pause and just think about it, make notes about these things. It's always good to journal a little bit while we do this. We want to step more into the archetype of the guide or the guru. This is where we represent the nature of the divine in your life and in yourself. So you are actually stepping in as the teacher, as the wise person. And so that's where we want to go to. Okay, so we're going to dive into our corrections. And we have sabotage programs that came up first and foremost. So just from the open gates, like straight into sabotage programs. The emotion that came up in relation to the sabotage programs is hostility, and it's in relation to dissatisfaction with self. So I'm taking it back. I'm just grabbing onto the example that came up with work and overworking and feeling violated. If you know that you do that and then you come home at the end of the day and then you probably beat yourself up. Why did I go to work early? Why am I putting in extra time? Why am I doing this when I'm not getting appreciated for that? Okay, that's my example. Perhaps your example is something different. Okay, it depends on what your goal is and your where you're at. So how does hostility with dissatisfaction of self fit in? Where are you hard on yourself? Where are you hostile towards yourself for whatever it is that you're doing? Okay, so for this particular correction, this is going to be number one, a tongue twister. It's going to be an eye twister. It's going to be like everything. And I need 1 second to, there's one thing I forgot to douse. Let me quickly just check that. Okay, I just had to quickly check which meridian we are working with here. Okay, so we have hostility in relation to dissatisfaction with self. Like I said, it's going to be an eye twister, a tongue twister. This is going to be like everything. So you may want to watch this little piece again and maybe just get yourself ready for what is to come. Let me just talk about what we're going to do. We have, first of all, the sentence. In spite of this conflict in attitude about whatever the limiting belief is, and I'm going to give you that in a second, in relation to goal. Now, this could be your specific goal, or in our case, the goal that I have here is I am comfortable with my success. I deeply and profoundly love, accept, appreciate, and respect myself. So the limiting belief that came up for this particular correction is I can give myself time. I cannot give myself time. Okay, so what we'll do here is we'll say, in spite of this conflict and attitude about me giving myself time in relation to me, me being comfortable with my success, I deeply and profoundly love, accept, appreciate, and respect myself. Okay, that just like normal straight out is already a tongue twister and a half. I will repeat it while I'm doing it. In spite of this conflict and attitude about about me giving myself time in relation to me being comfortable with my success, I deeply and profoundly love, accept, appreciate, and respect myself. The part that I had to quickly douse to see where we're working is we're working with the kidney meridian. The kidney meridian is associated with fear. So somewhere in this whole struggle, there's fear that is limiting us and holding us back. We're going to be tapping the bladder meridian point. We can actually tap the kidney points. The kidney points are just under the clavicle here. So it is, you've got these neat little knobs over here, and then you've got your clavicle. So it's just next to them and down. There's a soft spot just underneath your collarbone, and we're going to be tapping there. I just normally use index finger and middle finger. They are neutral, so we're going to be tapping there. If you wanted to, you could even use 5 fingers like that and tap. Okay, so we're going to be tapping. On top of that, we are going to do eye rotations. So let's quickly review eye rotations. Eye rotations, you are literally going to look up, you're going to look to the diagonal, we're going to look to the side, diagonal, down, diagonal, side, diagonal, up, and then you reverse that again. You want to stretch the eyes as much as possible. Okay, so head is going to look forward, but the eyes are going to look up, side, side, down, down, side. Just practice that. We're going to reverse that. And not only this, we are going to do this with eyes open and with eyes closed. So I will actually not keep these on because I'm going to be tapping the kidney point, so that's fine. And I'm going to just reverse this back to our statement over here. The statement will most likely become a little bit confusing. Maybe it'll get a bit easier, but just roll with it. What we are doing, this is the same as going find and replace within multiple Word documents, except we're working with our brain and we're working with where these limiting beliefs are. The eye rotations, as we look in the different directions, we're accessing all these different parts within the brain, all our ways of processing, thinking about the past, thinking about words, thinking about tastes, flavors, sights, all of those things. We're accessing all the different aspects, and we're saying find all of these things where this limiting belief is sitting. We're finding them, and then we're going to replace it. And so we're going to be replacing it with just our goal, or we can replace it with I can give myself time, which is going to be our limiting beliefs that is in reverse. Are we ready? Okay, so I'm going to use index finger and middle finger, tapping under the collarbone and eye rotations. In spite of this conflict in attitude about me giving myself time in relation to me being comfortable with my success, I deeply and profoundly love, accept, appreciate, and respect myself. In spite of this conflict in attitude about me giving myself time in relation to me being okay with my success, I deeply and profoundly love, accept, appreciate, and respect myself. In spite of this conflict in attitude about me giving myself time in relation to me being okay with my success, I deeply and profoundly love, accept, and appreciate and respect myself. Okay, so we did that eyes open and eyes closed with your eye rotations. Now we're going to take index finger and middle finger together. Ring finger and thumb together. Index and middle is going to tap on the mastoid process behind the ears. So tap, and we're going to say here, I can give myself time while we do eye rotations. I can give myself time. 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 Okay, and we did that eyes open and eyes closed with eye rotations. If you feel a little bit dizzy, that's okay. What you can do, just rub those 2 points that you were tapping. If you've got a window somewhere, just look out the window with your head straight out. So don't turn your entire body, don't just turn your head. Just look out into the horizon. Okay, let's come back. That's just to sort of anchor that energy right back in again. Okay, that was our one correction done. Next one is a hypothalamus reset. So this is actually quite a potent little session. It basically resets the brain. So whatever this emotional stuff was that we had running in the background, all of that stuff, we're saying clear, and now we reset the brain to think in a different way. Our emotion that comes up here is peace, and it's in relation to fun. How nice is that? We are working with 2 points. Let's grab that. So the one is going to be on the back of the head, and the other point is going to be in the front. Now it doesn't matter which side you go, you can pick. So you can, with the one hand, you're going to hold the one side, and with the other hand, we're going to hold the other side. Or you can swap them around, whatever. If you wanted to do both, you're welcome to do that as well. And all that I'm going to do here is, I'll do this one in the back. I'm doing 2 fingers. It's a neutral grip. You can even hold your entire hand there, your palm. If you're not sure where the point is, I'll just hold 2 points there. The other one is sitting right in front of your ear. Okay, so we're doing that. And all you want to do here is focus on peace and fun. And we're going to tap this point in front of the ear. Hold the other point in the back and just tap the front one. Think peace and fun. You can close your eyes if you want to. And if you want to really go deep with this particular one, we can do our eye rotations at the same time. So I'm going to encourage you to do some eye rotations. I will do mine as well. We're doing it eyes open and eyes closed. Think about peace and fun. So looking up. Think peace, fun. Eyes closed and do the same rotations all the way around. We're going to do some more eye rotations in a moment. Okay, right. Ring finger and thumb together. Those two are going to tap on the mastoid process, and we're going to do eye rotations again. This time you don't have to think about anything. So eye rotations up, diagonal, side, diagonal, bottom, diagonal, side, diagonal, up, diagonal, side, diagonal, down, diagonal, side, diagonal, up, eyes closed, up, diagonal, side, diagonal, down, diagonal, diagonal, side, diagonal, up, middle, reverse direction, going all the way down, diagonal, side, diagonal, up. Done. You're going to be eye rotationed out at the end of this session. Okay, so that's our corrections done for the present time. Then we're going into the past, and what's coming up here, and we can maybe just switch back to the main video again. What's coming up here is, first of all, our archetypes. The negative archetype that we want to release is the miser. This is all about hoarding money. It could also be about hoarding emotions, or getting sort of obsessive fear about losing wealth, or maybe even losing whatever it could be. There's normally some obsession, like a holding on. We want to let go of the miser, and we want to step more into a space of the priest or the priestess, which is where we're looking more at our spiritual commitments, maybe becoming more of service, and especially in relation to spiritual energy. Our correction here is about learned beliefs. And now I can't tell you what that learned belief is. This is a belief that you have learned along the way. Examples: I'm ugly, I'm not good enough, I'm not as good as the others, what do I know, I can't get rich, whatever. These are things that we learned along the way. Money is evil, blah blah blah, all of those things. Find what your learned belief is. Focus maybe on 1 or 2 of them. Don't have like a million of them. Just find what is in relation to your specific goal. What is the belief that you learned that maybe was reinforced or enforced on you at a young age already, that ties in with your goal and your intention. The emotion that comes up here is humiliation, and it's in relation to consciousness. So humiliation into consciousness. What does that mean for you? How does that fit in with your specific goal and intention? Okay, so our correction for this one is going to be 1 hand in front, 1 hand in the back. And it doesn't matter which side, it really doesn't matter. Just hold that. I want you to close your eyes and perhaps focus on the emotion of humiliation. In relation to consciousness, what could that possibly mean for you in relation to your goal? What is the learned belief, or the learned belief, I guess, that you have in relation to whatever your goal or your intention is? Okay. How can this learned belief be changed? I'm just going to use the example of money is evil. So to change that, we can look at how our response would be to money. So perhaps maybe we can change it to money is good, or money is just money. There's no evil. Money itself doesn't have a consciousness, and therefore it can't be evil. Money doesn't go out of its way to try and make your life a misery. What makes your life a misery is how you use or not use money. So by looking at what your beliefs are around it, we can change that belief. Once you've changed the belief, so let's say I went from money is evil and I got to a place where, oh, well, money is just neutral. It doesn't have a consciousness of its own. It doesn't make my life a misery. So, and if that's the case, there's no reason why I can't have lots of money. And so now that I've changed the attitude around that, now you visualize yourself with that twist, or that difference. So in my case, in the example's case, lots of money. Visualize what that would look like. What would it feel like? Make it real. Just really see perhaps how you interact with money, how you work with it. Again, whatever your goal is or your intention here, whatever your learned belief is, if it's, let's say, for example, I'm ugly, then really going into maybe questioning about that. Do I believe that? Do I absolutely believe that beyond a shadow of a doubt? Is there anything that I'm not ugly? Maybe my hands are really beautiful, my legs are beautiful. So can I extend that to the rest of my body? And how would that look? Okay, so whatever your focus is, just focus on that and changing this for yourself. Spend as much time here as you need with eyes closed, just holding front and back. And big thing here is to visualize yourself already achieving that and feeling how your new belief settles in. Pause the video here if you need more time. Okay, when you are ready, you can let go of that FO hold. This is a frontal occipital hold. What the frontal occipital hold does is when we are stressed, we tend to go into the back of the brain. It's our autopilot, and we don't think, we just go in stress mode. What this technique does is we're stimulating blood in the front of the brain as well as in the back of the brain. And so the front of the brain is how we can think about new ways of doing things, new fresh ideas. And because we're accessing both of them, we're doing our autopilot and the front, and now what we're doing is we're taking that information, pulling it to the back, and we're showing our bodies there's a new way of being, there's a new way of doing. Okay, and then we're going into the future for a correction there, and our archetype that we want to let go of for the future is the rebel. So the rebel is where we reject authority, especially if it's a legitimate authority, out of anger. So we're not talking about these fake authorities, we're talking about legitimate authorities. This is also about rebelling for peer pressure or fashion. I can understand that. But the way that I see it, I mean, I'm a huge rebel. I don't make any qualms about that. But what we sometimes have to remember is that the flip side, or actually the same side as the rebel, is also the victim. So usually when we feel victimized on some level, the rebel kicks in to try and not get us to go into victim mode. So some people go straight into victim and go like, oh, poor me. The other people go like, no, I'm a rebel, I'll push against that. Just realize that doesn't matter which way you go. If the rebel comes up, it feels like you're a victim on some level. Something from outside or maybe even from inside feels like it's attacking. And we want to step out of that. So our balancing archetype here is the healer, and this is all about getting to a place where we can repair your own body, help others to repair their bodies or minds or spirits, and to transform into healing. So this is where we're moving to. And our correction here is actually really simple. It is a centering exercise. So centering is when you're feeling like all over the place. We want to get back into the body, and it's called a hyoid balance. The hyoid is this little floating bone that you've got in the neck. It's the only bone in the body that's not connected to any other body part, like any other bone. It's floating on a little it's on tendons and ligaments, really. So what we're going to do on this part, and you don't need to know exactly where it's sitting within your neck, all you're going to do is we're going to go push and go out. You're going to go from the middle up, and you're going to go at an angle. Oops, I can't look at myself while I'm doing this. And you're going to go to an angle. So we're going almost like compass points: side, top, diagonal, diagonal, side. And you just do a few of these different angles of this. And that's it. That's it. All done. Okay. So when you're feeling a little bit all over the place, then you can do this to bring yourself back into position. Oh, the emotion that we had, it was paralyzed, and it's in relation to recreation. Like, this whole thing is about us giving ourselves time, recreation. So when you get yourself to recreation, you go like, I'm paralyzed, I can't even do anything. I don't know what it is to go into recreation. Do I sense that all of us are a little bit overworkers or something here, or is it just me? But yeah, those are things we want to clear. And to tie all of this up, we have a bunch of eye rotations to do again. I know, don't roll your eyes. I know these eye rotations can sometimes be the pits, but they are very powerful. For these techniques, we don't need to do this with eyes closed. We only have to do this with eyes open, but we are going to do a rotation in one direction and then reverse direction. And we're working with feelings that we're wanting to release. We're working with the ring finger and thumb together, and index and middle finger will tap. Our first emotion that comes up is incensed, which is like really angry, like you're ready to like explode. Incensed. And we're going to say the words, I feel incensed, while tapping. And just by the way, this doesn't mean that at the moment you're feeling incensed. We're looking at all of the times in the past where you have felt that, and we're releasing those things. Okay, so tapping, and we go, I feel incensed, 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 I feel incensed. Next one, loveless and unlovable. Tapping, I feel loveless, I feel unlovable, 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 I feel loveless, I feel unlovable. Unacceptable. I feel unacceptable, 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 I feel unacceptable. Last one. Incurable. I feel incurable, 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 I feel incurable. If you don't feel dizzy after this one, that I don't know. I'm just going to do those points again. Just look off into the distance. If you have a window, just look out the window into the distance, onto the horizon. And what this does is it just helps us to get back into our body. Okay. Very important when you do that, staring off into the distance, you're not doing it with your head turned. You want your head facing forward. Okay. Beautiful. So let's see what comes up for our homework. So for the homework, we have planning for the future, that's number one, and the other one is professional development. So for professional development, this is any development that you can do. If there's some skill that you're lacking, that you can potentially study or learn or like get more information about, what is that? Planning for the future, same thing. I think both of these actually tie in really beautifully with each other. So from where you are right now, where do you want to be? Look at your goal that you set earlier. Where does that goal take you? From where you are now, how do you get to this goal? That's part of your planning of the future, right? Now, what professional development do you need? Is there some skill that you need to help you get there? And then how can you gain that skill? Can you talk to people? Can you do healing around it? Can you read a book? Is there a course you can take? What can you do to get you there? So that basically concludes your session for today. I'm going to leave that homework with you. Take middle fingers and just press them down onto the mastoid process in the back of the ears. Press. And that's to lock in the system. And I'm going to leave you with that one. That's quite a session. So I will see you next week, same time, same place. I'm sending you lots of love and light. Take care and have a beautiful week. Bye.